My name is Selah Voss. I'm 27, and the night everything shattered began with the sharp, metallic smell of the ICU and the slow, merciless beep of the heart monitor beside me. I lay there bruised, stitched, and fighting waves of dizziness as I lifted my phone with shaking fingers and hit call again. "Mom, please," I whispered. "They need consent for the scans. I don't know if I should sign a loan." In the background, chaos, laughter, squeals, clinking glasses, music. Then my sister's dramatic, nasal cry. "Tell her to stop calling. I'm literally crying over my engagement decor. Everything's ruined because she keeps interrupting." Mom sighed, annoyed. "Selah, sweetie, this is not a good time. We're decorating. Your sister is overwhelmed." "Mom, they think there's internal bleeding." Silence for half a second. Then she lowered her voice, like I was the inconvenience. "Selah, your sister is crying. Do you hear me? Crying. We cannot deal with this right now." And she hung up, just like that. The kind of hang-up that doesn't disconnect a call, it disconnects a relationship. The nurse beside me tried to hide the pity in her eyes. "Sweetheart, do you have anyone else? Anyone who actually shows up?" My throat tightened. "Yeah," I whispered. "I do." I dialed the one person who had never treated me like background noise, my attorney, Gabriel Rourke, the man who handled my accident case and had a habit of showing up for people when life didn't. He picked up on the first ring. "Selah? What happened?" "I'm coming. Don't sign anything until I get there." No hesitation. No complaints. No engagement planning theatrics. 20 minutes later, he walked into the ICU with calm focus, a folder in one hand and determination in his eyes. His presence steadied the room in a way my own family never had. And right on cue, as if the universe wanted a front-row seat to irony, my family finally arrived. Not for me, but because the hospital had a Starbucks. They walked in laughing, and then froze when they saw Gabriel standing protectively beside my bed. They had no idea their heartless choice tonight had already set a price they weren't ready to pay. The moment Gabriel turned toward my family, the steady beep, beep of the heart monitor suddenly felt louder, like it was revealing the truth they refused to see. Mom plastered on a smile. "Oh, we didn't know you'd called anyone." I watched her eyes flick to my condition, my pale skin, the dried blood at my hairline, the 4 taped to my arm, and then flick away just as fast. Jenna crossed her arms dramatically, engagement bracelet jingling. "Seriously, Selah? You called a lawyer? For what? Attention." Gabriel's jaw tightened. "She called me because she was alone, and because the doctor needed immediate consent for internal imaging." Dad grunted, annoyed. "We said we'd come later. She always exaggerates." I let out a shaky breath. "I told you I might need emergency surgery." Jenna rolled her eyes, so hard her glitter shadow cracked. "And I told you I'm stressed. My floral arch collapsed, okay? Do you know how traumatic that is?" The beep, beep continued, patient, steady judging. The doctor stepped in. "Miss Voss, your scans show internal bleeding. We're monitoring closely. We'll need a decision about the exploratory procedure soon." Mom gasped loud enough to sound caring. "Oh my God, Selah. Why didn't you tell us?" I stared at her. I did. Gabriel set a form on the tray table. "Selah, I've reviewed your paperwork. There's a clause from your accident settlement that your family clearly forgot about." Dad's head snapped up. "What clause?" Gabriel remained calm. "The clause stating that, should her condition worsen due to delayed consent or abandonment, liability shifts to the individuals responsible for refusing urgent assistance." Jenna scoffed. "What does that even mean?" "It means," Gabriel said, voice slow and controlled, "if she died waiting, you'd be financially responsible." Silence. Thick. Stifling. Beep, beep. My family froze, not out of guilt, but fear. And in that moment, I understood exactly how deep their priorities ran. Mom's hand flew to her chest, Not out of love, but out of panic. Wait, hold on. That can't be real. You're exaggerating, right? Gabriel didn't flinch. Hospital call logs, recorded communication attempts, timestamps, all admissible. And your responses, he looked at me gently, were documented. Dad's voice dropped to a hiss. Selah, why would you get a lawyer involved? Families handle things privately. I stared at him, my voice barely above a whisper. I called because I thought I was dying, Dad. And you were busy picking centerpiece colors. Jenna scoffed. Oh my God, you're being dramatic again. You always make everything about you. The nurse shot her a glare sharp enough to cut glass. She came in with a collapsing lung and internal bleeding. This is not drama. This is survival. Jenna opened her mouth, but the doctor stepped in with the weight of authority. We'll need the operating room prepared. I don't want another delay. As he left, Gabriel moved closer. His calm steadiness anchored me. Selah, if you want me to stay through the procedure, I will. I exhaled, shaky. Please don't leave. Dad let out a frustrated breath, pacing the room. This is ridiculous. It was one missed call. I looked up at him. It was 6. And one text. And the nurse left a voicemail, too. Mom shot back defensively. We were under pressure. Jenna's decor crisis. Engagement decor, Jenna corrected with a sniff. The 4-pump clicked softly, a tiny mechanical imperfection I suddenly fixated on, a reminder of how fragile everything felt. Gabriel folded his arms. You should know something else. The hospital is filing a report due to delayed response from next of kin. They don't take abandonment lightly. Dad stopped pacing. Mom went pale. Jenna finally shut up. And for the first time that night, they realized this wasn't about decor. This was about consequences. The air grew heavy, thick enough that even the hum of the fluorescent lights seemed to hold its breath. I shifted slightly, a sting shooting through my side, reminding me how close everything had come. Dad stepped forward, lowering his voice like he was negotiating a business deal, not talking to his injured daughter. Selah, listen, whatever the hospital thinks they heard, we can fix this. No need to make things ugly. I let out a humorless laugh. Ugly? Dad, I was lying here, scared out of my mind. And you were choosing napkin colors. Jenna bristled. Wow. So now my engagement is the villain? I swear, you love ruining every important moment for me. Gabriel shot her a measured look. Her life is an important moment, Jenna. Mom tried smoothing things over in that patronizing tone she used whenever she thought emotions were inconvenient. We're here now, sweetheart. Let's just focus on moving forward. But something inside me had finally snapped, not in anger but clarity. You weren't here, I said softly. You showed up for Starbucks, not me. Silence, the kind you can feel. The nurse returned with a clipboard. Miss Voss, the oar's ready. Do you have someone to accompany you to pre-op? Jenna and Mom looked away in unison, like synchronized guilt. Dad didn't move. Only Gabriel stepped forward. I'm here, he said. I'll go with her. The nurse nodded and began lowering the bed rails. As she pushed me toward the door, my family followed half-heartedly, as if unsure whether this counted as a real crisis or just another Selah problem. Jenna muttered under her breath. If this delays my rehearsal dinner, I swear. I heard her. Gabriel heard her. And the nurse definitely heard her. But no one said a word, because deep down even my family knew. Their priorities were being exposed under the brightest, coldest hospital lights imaginable. They wheeled me down the hallway, the wheels squeaking every few seconds, a tiny, imperfect sound that somehow felt truer than anything my family had said all night. The corridor lights blurred above me, white and unforgiving, each one passing like a countdown I wasn't sure I'd win. Gabriel walked beside the gurney, matching the nurse's pace. Steady, unshaken, my anchor. Behind us, my family followed in a messy cluster, whispering, sighing, adjusting outfits like they were heading into a photo shoot instead of a surgery wing. Mom finally spoke. Selah, honey, once this is over, we'll talk. As a family. Okay. I looked at her. Her mascara was flawless. Her tone rehearsed. Her eyes somewhere else entirely. We talked tonight, I said quietly. You just didn't like what you heard. Jenna huffed dramatically. Seriously, can you stop being so sensitive? Everyone is stressed. My decorator canceled last minute. Gabriel turned sharply. Her lung collapsed. Jenna blinked. Okay, but do you have any idea how hard it is to book florals in peak season? The nurse pushing me muttered something under her breath that sounded like, unbelievable. Dad cleared his throat, stepping closer like he wanted to reclaim control. Listen, Selah, after your procedure, let's sit down and figure out how to handle this situation. The hospital report, the liability thing. It's not a situation, I said. It's my life. Gabriel placed a hand gently on the railing of my bed, voice calm but edged with steel. And your life isn't something they can spin into convenience. We reached the pre-op doors. Only one person was allowed through. Mom stepped forward. Dad too. Jenny even tried. But the nurse blocked them with a firm hand. Immediate emotional support only, meaning someone who was actually present when she needed them. All three froze. Gabriel looked at me. I'm with you. And when the doors opened, it wasn't my family who followed me into the cold, bright unknown. It was the only person who truly showed up. The pre-op room was colder than the hallway, the kind of cold that seeped past skin and straight into ribs. Machines hummed softly, curtains swayed with the ventilation, and somewhere nearby, someone whispered a prayer. Gabriel stood beside my bed as the nurse prepped the foreline. His presence felt calm, quiet, like a lighthouse in a storm I hadn't asked for. You're going to be okay, he said gently. I'm staying right here until they take you in. I nodded, blinking against the harsh overhead lights. Thank you for coming when they didn't. He exhaled slowly. You shouldn't have had to ask at all. Through the cracked door, I caught a glimpse of my family pacing outside the restricted line. Jenna was complaining loudly to a nurse about unfair rules. Mom was reapplying lip gloss and Dad was on the phone, probably telling someone how dramatic tonight had been. It stung, but it didn't surprise me anymore. The surgeon entered, crisp and serious. Miss Voss, the bleeding is localized but risky. We'll need to operate within minutes. My pulse quickened. Gabriel noticed immediately and rested a steady hand on the side rail, never touching skin, always respectful, always present. Selah, he said softly, you are not alone. I'll be here when you wake up. The nurse positioned a consent form in front of me. My hand trembled as I signed, not from fear of surgery, but from everything that had led me here. As they began rolling me toward the operating room, I heard raised voices outside. Dad, we're her family, let us in. Nurse, where were you during her critical hour? Jenna, do you people know who I am? My engagement is in 3 days. Then Mom's voice, sharp, desperate. Selah, sweetie, tell them you want us. The doors swung open. I didn't look back, because for the first time in my life, their voices didn't pull me. They pushed me forward. The operating room doors closed behind me, muffling the chaos of my family's voices until they became nothing more than distant, meaningless echoes. The anesthesiologist leaned over me, adjusting the mask with practiced calm. You'll feel sleepy in a few seconds, Miss Voss. I nodded, heart thudding in my ears, not from fear of the surgery, but from everything that waited outside those doors, everything I could no longer unsee. Just before the medication swept over me, I heard Gabriel's voice, low, steady, from the hallway beyond the glass. I'll be right here when she wakes up. Darkness took me gently. I woke hours later to the rhythmic hiss of oxygen and the soft beep of monitors. My vision wavered, shapes blending in and out until one figure sharpened. Gabriel, slumped in the stiff hospital chair, suit jacket off, tie loosened, hair slightly messed, an unintentional human imperfection the family would have criticized, but made him feel more real than anyone else in my life. When he saw my eyes flutter open, relief washed over his face. "Selah, you made it." His voice cracked just a little, the first crack from him all night. "You stayed," I whispered, throat dry. "Of course I did." Before I could answer, the door swung open and my family poured in like they were entering a stage. Mom rushed forward. "Sweetheart, we've been so worried." Dad crossed his arms. "The doctor said it went well. That's what matters." Jenna sniffed dramatically. "You scared us. And you totally ruined my sleep. My rehearsal is tomorrow." Gabriel rose slowly, posture firm. "Visitation rules allow only one person at a time." Mom frowned. "We're her family." He met their eyes calmly. "Family shows up. You didn't." Their faces stiffened, and for the first time, I wasn't afraid to let that truth sit in the room like a spotlight they couldn't escape. The silence after Gabriel's words was heavier than any monitor beep. My family stood frozen, their perfect outfits and perfect postures suddenly looking like costumes, thin fabric over hollow care. Dad recovered first. He cleared his throat. "Selah, let's not escalate things. We're here now. That's what counts." I looked at him, really looked, and felt nothing. Not anger, not grief, just clarity. "Dad," I said softly, "you showed up when the danger was over, not when it mattered." Mom stepped forward, reaching for my hand, but I pulled it away. Her face flickered. "Sweetheart, we didn't know it was that serious." "I told you," I whispered. "I told all of you." Jenna scoffed, tossing her curled hair over her shoulder. "God, are you really going to hold one night over us? I had a breakdown. My decorator quit." "Your sister almost died," Gabriel said, voice like a quiet blade. Jenna folded her arms. "And she's fine now." The nurse entered, holding a clipboard, eyebrows raised high at the tension. "Miss Voss, just confirming. Your emergency contact is still Mr. Rourke?" All three of my family turned sharply. Dad barked, "What?" "No, we are her family." The nurse didn't blink. "According to hospital records, you didn't respond to multiple emergency calls. Mr. Rourke did. So yes, he's listed." Mom's mouth fell open. Jenna's face flushed an unattractive shade of blotchy red. I felt a slow, steady calm spread through me. "Yes," I said. "Keep him as my emergency contact." Dad stepped closer, voice low with warning. "Selah, think about how this looks." "I am," I said, "for the first time." The nurse excused herself, leaving the door open just a crack. Gabriel placed a supportive hand on the bed rail, not touching me but grounding me. I inhaled deeply, the oxygen cool in my chest. "I'm taking space from all of you. Real space. You showed me exactly where I stand." Mom whispered, "Selah, we're your family." I met her eyes steady. "Family shows up." Their faces crumbled, quietly, beautifully, under the weight of their own choices. I closed my eyes,